friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started!
Hey book besties, and welcome back to Bookish Bliss for episode 99. We have a lot to discuss today.
We are ending our journey with Sarah J. Maas's tandem read of Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn, and this week it's only about Tower of Dawn, which is chapters 58 to FIREHEART. So you do have to read the entire book, both books, to listen to us tonight, because we are going full spoiler mode. Amanda, darling, what are you drinking tonight?
Drinking the gnome, darling. Cola ginger lime mule.
I'm jealous.
What are you drinking tonight, darling?
I'm out of bubbly. I'm out of polar. I'm out of DC. So I'm drinking water.
Regular water.
In this cute little mug thing I got from Boston. Not Snowport, but the summer one that they have.
Cute.
It has like a heart, a croissant, like iced coffee, champagne, books, pasta. It's like all my favorite things. So
I love that.
That
is such a Megan cup.
It's a Megan cup. But I'm just having some good old water.
Very good, darling.
So cheers to episode 99.
99. Our last double-digit episode.
Yes, of Bookish Bliss. And part 12 of our tandem read. Cheers!
Cheers! There's Oreo in the back.
Water.
You'll have to excuse my cat. I have a new arrangement.
I'm so jealous of your arrangement.
This is where my boyfriend plays video games, but he is on the road for work now, so I took over the spot.
I know, and I'm not at my boyfriend's house, so I'm not in my comfy couch spot, but my couch is just not, the vibes don't hit the same way. Actually, it's my table doesn't work well with the couch level like it does at his house, so
yeah.
I'm in my uncomfy seat, but you get the beautiful books in the background, so it's fine. My
cat usually sits here all day and all night, so if he passes by, as he passes by, I'll try to edit him out as much as possible, but
it's okay. Poppy sometimes, remember she like launched into the background during one episode? She just was like, I want to sit on these shelves where there's no room for her to sit. So
yeah, he just loves to like walk around me. I don't know. Sometimes he'll sit on my lap, but he just likes to be a cat.
Yeah, it's fine. We love Oreo.
Yeah.
Amanda, what is your bookish news for this week?
Oh my gosh. Not that much, actually. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Nice.
Finished that. Loved that. Love the Harry Potter books.
Yep.
I actually listened to a lot, and did I tell you about that part with Hermione?
Oh, yes.
She was like, I can't. I was dying. I loved that. Then I read The Vampire Diaries, The Return, #2. Shadow Souls. Sucked. Probably won't continue the series, actually.
Oh, shit.
I want to continue the series because I want to get to the point where their originals come in.
Yep.
Because I don't think that was made up on the show. I think that's part of the books.
But
I'm like, I can't get over the fucking Japanese foxes. Like, I'm over the foxes.
I'm glad they omitted that from the show.
Oh, well, I see why. Boring. Yeah. And then Dear Debbie, Frida McFadden's new book I read.
Ooh.
So good. Listen to.
Yeah.
If I say read, I mean listen to.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I've been reading too, but not as much as I've been listening. I've been 90% listening lately.
And you finished Tower of Dawn.
Oh, yeah. And Tower of Dawn today.
Yes.
I didn't even mark that on my story graph yet. That'll be number 19 of this year.
Shoot.
Am I going to go for 200 this year instead?
Oh, my God, darling.
Like it's crazy. It's only week 2. Not even. Yeah, we're in week 2 of February, and I've already done 20 books. I'm going to hit 100 in fucking June.
Yeah. Well, see as far as you can go.
That's crazy. We'll see.
Don't up it yet, because what if your life gets crazy?
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen, yeah.
Yeah.
For now, I'm by myself in the freezing cold. All I do is listen to books.
Yeah. What are you listening to right now?
Oh my gosh, Bride. I love it.
Yay.
I tried Pack Up the Moon.
Yep.
Because I only had like 4 days left of it on Libby, but nobody was waiting for it. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna rip through it.
Yeah.
But it was the day Nate left, and it's like a really sad beginning
Oh, yeah.
about a funeral. So I'm like, I can't listen to this right now.
It's a sad book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm already sad.
Yeah.
I can't listen to this.
That makes sense.
So I'm gonna reborrow it after, and then
Yeah.
I'll read it. I'll listen to it then. But
That's so funny.
we're in much happier moods.
Yes.
How about you, darling? What have you been reading / listening to?
What did I read? I finished The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley, which was interesting. Yeah, it was like weird ending. Birds. That's all I'll say at the end. I read The Academy by Ellen Hilderbrand and her daughter Shelby Cunningham. It was my first Ellen Hilderbrand book. I know she's pretty popular for like the Nantucket series, but I haven't read any of those books. So this was my first one. And it was kind of like a Gossip Girl high school setting, but like included like the adult teachers. I think there's a second book. It was okay. I wasn't like, oh my God, this was amazing, but I didn't hate it. And then I finished Tower of Dawn. So that's pretty good for me. I haven't really been reading or listening to books, but I am again obsessed with Libby. So I download or borrow at least 3 books at a time, and then it gives me like the countdown of how many days. And so I feel like that's how I've been listening to them in order. And I have a couple books on hold, but the Academy, I actually was like number, I don't know,
God, I know.
like 100 something in list. And then it told me, it was like, you are in luck. You got this like special copy or skip the line thing with Libby. And I don't know why I got that, but I was like, oh shit, well then I'll just take it now.
You know what? I wonder if the library got another copy and they just randomly picked someone to give it to instead of giving it to the next person.
Oh, maybe. But I didn't get it for 21 days, which is like the max you can do. I only got it for 7. So I had to like listen to that one. So I finished that yesterday. So now I'm going back to, I was listening to Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey, which is the second book in a Vineyard series that she wrote. And I I read the first book like years ago, like a couple years ago. So I'm finally finishing, I think it's just a duet, but they're like interconnected standalone stories. I'm like 31% through that. Then on deck is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid and The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. And I obviously have our in-person book club book, which is Flawless by Elsie Silver. So I'm excited for that. And then
next up on mine too, I have Funny Story by Emily Henry.
Oh yeah,
it'll be the first one, and I own all of her books, so hopefully it's good. So I want to read the rest.
I know I have a few Emily Henry books, but I haven't read any yet, so I have to get that on the list. And then The Wolf King, obviously for our Discord. So
yay, I'm so excited.
Lots of books in the works, and then of course Kingdom of Ash is quickly approaching now that this tandem read is done, which is so crazy.
I can't believe I finished the tandem read.
You did it. You survived it.
I can't believe it.
We'll have to get your thoughts next week, though.
All I have to say before we start is I'm so happy Cale didn't die. I would not have read Kingdom of Ash if he died.
She says this, but I feel like that is not true. She would need to know what happens with Aelin locked in a fucking box.
I wouldn't.
Yes, she would have.
If Cale died, it'd be so bad.
We're taking a week off anyways, so she'll be fine if that did happen.
Megan would have grabbed me by the hair and made me sit in the chair.
I'd be like, I guess I'm now doing Kingdom of Ash with Amy. I don't know. Like, who's covering?
Amy would have filled in.
Who's covering Kingdom of Ash with me?
I know. I told Tara today we finished. She's like, oh, I must get ready.
Yes. Tara will be joining us for final thoughts of Kingdom of Ash. So exciting.
So exciting. Okay. Now let's get started with the good stuff and break down the tandem read. The final part 12. Well, besides final thoughts, but the final chapter by chapter part.
Yes.
Part 12. Starting with you tonight, darling.
And ending with you, my darling.
Indeed, darling.
All right, Tower of Dawn, chapter 58. Kale and Irene linger together in bed the next morning, knowing they can only wait for Hafiza to decide whether to give them the books, and even then, the knowledge would need to reach Aelin or someone capable of deciphering it. Kale tells Irene the full truth about Aelin's past as Selena, Dorian's possession by the Val Caller, his own failures and sacrifices, and the promises he broke. Hearing it all only deepens Irene's love for him as she sees the man he is becoming. They discuss how the king never found the books during his purge, possibly due to divine intervention that Aelin had found, and Kale explains how Aelin and Dorian burned the Valg out of the king, allowing him to briefly return to himself before dying as the glass castle collapsed. From this, Irene forms a theory. The Valg are a parasitic infection that feeds on emotions like fear, anger, and guilt, and she believes she was able to heal Kale by treating the Valg as she would any parasite, confronting it, containing it, and forcing it to be expelled.
Oh,
Irene
yes.
argues that while fire can cleanse, it is dangerous and uncontrolled, whereas healing, especially raw healing magic like hers, is better suited to treating Valg infections. She believes that those enslaved by collars or rings could potentially be freed. Kel notes the risk of testing such a theory, but realizes this power is likely why Erewhon targeted Irene. He may not have fully understood her threat until Aelin and Dorian successfully purged the Valg from the king and Dorian. They reflect on the history of Aethriel's ring, which granted immunity to the Valg. Aethriel, a close friend of King Brannon and Maeve, received the ring. Though legend claims Mala Firebringer forged it, Kale recalls details that suggest otherwise. Aelin and the found tapestry inside her castle room that led her to the first word key, or would have been word key, hidden by Brannon. On the tapestry was an owl, Aethriel's animal form, but perhaps also his sigil, symbolizing loyalty to another god. Kale theorizes that the ring may not have been forged by Mala at all, but by Silba, the goddess of healing. Determined, Irene insists that they visit Hafiza to study the books themselves, especially the knowledge that the Fae healers gained during the war. Before they can leave, Hazar bursts in, catching them in a moment of intimacy, and delivers urgent news. Queen Maeve has found Aelin and her companions, and a fierce battle has already taken place.
Oh, shit.
Oh, so basically, in this lovely chapter of ours, after Irene gets the full lowdown of Queen of Shadows, basically, Kale's talking to her about this tapestry that was in Aelin's room that showed Brannon and kind of was the first clue to lead Aelin to go down into the hidden space where Brannon had hid that first word key. Obviously, the king had already found that clue, and the word key was no longer there, but it had all useful information about word keys and kind of the adventure that we kind of start on in Throne of Glass and Crown of
Yeah.
Midnight. But in this tapestry, he points out that there was an owl that may have not have been Aethriel's animal form, but a sigil to a god that he was loyal to, which is Silba, the healing goddess, which is making a lot more sense now that this was a clue that the healers would be very important in this war with the Valg.
Yeah.
So,
But wait, also, isn't there an owl form with Maeve
yes,
at the end?
of air fire. Yeah, when she leaves. We think
No, in one of the chapters that we talk about tonight, they talk about how there's like an owl that follows Maeve, and she basically thinks it's a pet, but like they talk about being the Fey form of an, I don't know.
of Aethriel, that was her lover, or supposedly.
Is Aethriel the owl with her?
I think Aethriel's dead, no?
They talk about an owl with her in one of my ending chapters. Maeve. Like, what
Well,
the fuck?
remember at the end of Airfire too, they see like the owl flying away when Maeve leaves.
Who realizes it? It's like Nezrin and Irene at the same time at the end.
Okay,
Is
right
it?
here. They suspected Maeve's ever-present owl was actually a fey form of a healer she kept enslaved as a bodyguard. Oh yeah, so that's all tying together.
Is that Aethriel?
I don't think it's Aethriel. I think Aethriel's dead,
Oh, okay.
but
I just literally, I didn't even remember that part until you read it in your summary. And it's just so fresh in my mind because I just did my notes for the end. And I'm like, wait, another owl?
well, yeah, I guess like that. I think that's maybe has something to do with healers and the owls being associated with the Silba, the goddess of healing. Because Kale's like, maybe that wasn't his animal form, but to
Yeah.
represent the goddess that he was loyal to, which is Silba, this healing goddess. So yeah, owls may be associated with healers,
Yeah.
which we know that Maeve keeps her
Her own
healers
healers.
hoarded in Doranel.
Interesting. Maeve is one crazy little character.
She's something. So yeah, now that Kale comes to this realization, Irene's like, we definitely need to get our hands on these books that Haviza has, regardless
Yeah.
if she's gonna let us take it or not. We need to get our eyes on it, even though they can't read it. So I'm not sure what even looking at them is gonna do.
Yeah.
But they're like, we need to get over there right now. And so that's where they're headed. But before they can leave the door, Hazar comes walking in, is like, don't we look mighty comfortable with each other now? And tells us the news that Queen Maeve has found Aelin and co. and a battle has ensued.
Wild. Fucking wild. I still can't get over the fact that they still think Aylin's good. They're like, yeah, she's just on her way, like the rest of them.
Well, yeah, because obviously
I
we'll
know.
see in your
I know.
chapter, Lysandra is Aelin, and it looks like, yeah, she is headed towards Terrasen, but that
I
is
know.
not the full truth.
I know. Moving on. Tower of Dawn, chapter 59. Kale forces down his irritation with Hazar's smugness long enough to demand an explanation, and she recounts the chaos that unfolds when Maeve's armada arrived. A brutal clash erupted at sea, filled with roaring winds and razor-sharp ice magic, but notably no fire. Though everyone assumed Aelin and Maeve were battling on shore, it was Aelin's forces who emerged triumphant. Witnesses saw her greeting her armada alongside unexpected allies from the Red Desert and even Prince Galen of Wenlin. The fleet turned north, almost certainly bound for Terrasen. Kale feels a wave of relief when he learns that none of their key members were harmed. Hazar adds that Aelin has gathered a surprising amount of support. Many believe in her vision for a better world. She even wrote Hazar weeks earlier, appealing princess to princess for aid and promising a better world. I can't believe they fucking pulled it off. Already the southern continent thinks that Aelin is good.
Yeah.
But, it breaks my heart that Kale's like, oh, I'm so relieved because if he really knew what the fuck was going on, he would literally be devastated.
Oh, for sure.
Crazy.
I know. But
So,
the plan
yeah.
is working because regardless, Aelin is to forge the new lock, and Lysandra would have become her anyways.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good that the plan that Aelin and Lysandra put together is actually working and are fooled by the scouts coming to the southern continent to say that, yeah, Aelin was successful and now she's heading north with her new
Yeah.
allies.
Yeah. I wonder how long she can keep this up. Well, at least for our, like, main crew, like Kale and I guess everybody
You
else
won't
already.
know until next book.
Actually, does everybody else know?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else knows.
Well, I mean, yeah, like the main
Like
groups
the
know,
crew.
but I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
Ansel and like obviously Galen and them, I don't think Ansel knows.
Oh, okay. So it's just like literally the main crew.
Yeah.
Rowan, Adian,
I'm
Dorian,
sure, I
and
feel like
Bob.
Ansel might figure it out when, I mean, Lysandra does a good job, but
Yeah, she doesn't know history.
right.
Like,
Not everything, anyways.
yeah. But at least Kale knows that she has more of these allies, from the Red Desert and Prince Galen of Wenland. So things are at least looking up in his eyes, in their eyes.
Yes. All right, Tower of Dawn, Chapter 60. Kale and Irene move swiftly through the streets of Antica with shared purpose, driven by the knowledge that time is slipping away. Aelin has raised an army, and if Kale and Irene can reach her, bringing allies and resources with them, it could shift the balance of the war. Irene sees the fragile but fierce hope in Kale's eyes, the belief that maybe, after everything, they can still make a difference. Kale is willing to humble himself completely if that's what it takes. He would crawl on his knees before the Coggin for aid if it means saving their world. Before any of that, however, they must go to Hafiza. The books within the Torah may hold knowledge more powerful than any army or weapon, and Irene knows her time there is coming to an end. She is certain she will be leaving with Kale, and the weight of that inevitability presses on her as they climb the Torah steps. When they reach Hafiza's office, it is empty. Arisha explains that Hafiza has supposedly been locked away in her workroom all day, door shut tight. If the door now stands open, Arisha reasons that Hafiza must have slipped past her unnoticed. That alone unsettles Irene. Hafiza is not the sort to leave without a word or move unseen. Something feels wrong. They search the other rooms, but no one has seen Hafiza. Unease coils tighter in Irene's chest as they make their way down the corridor, and then she stops short. Her own door is closed, and beneath it lies Hafiza's iron key. Irene knows instantly that this was not left there by accident. Hafiza would never be careless with something so important. If she had hid the key beneath Irene's door, it was because she knew something was coming for her. Cal confirms there is no sign of forced entry anywhere in the tour, but that only deepens Irene's fear. Hafiza never acts without purpose. Cal insists they must notify the guards and begin a search immediately. Panic claws at Irene as she hopes desperately that Hafiza is still alive, still hidden somewhere within the tour's walls. Every second matters. They race down the tour's staircase, questioning everyone they pass. No one has seen Hafiza. Many insist she was still in her workroom. It is as though she has vanished into nothing, into shadow itself. Kale feels it deep in his gut. Something terrible has already happened or is unfolding even now. Irene forces herself to remain calm as she alerts the guards on that Hafiza is missing. Kale urges that they stay together. If someone took Hafiza, they may be counting on Kale and Irene separating and making themselves vulnerable. The guards confirm that Hafiza has not left through any of the exits and that no wagons have entered or departed since early morning. If she is gone, she must still be somewhere on the grounds, unless there's another way out no one has considered. The realization strikes Irene all at once: the library. She recalls the rumors of tunnels beneath it, secret passages that lead beyond the tour. She immediately seeks out Nusha, asking whether she has seen Hafiza and where the tunnels might be. Nusha gives them precise directions to the lowest level of the library, straight to the wall, cut left to the far right, where the stone grows rough and unfinished. From there, cut right, and then the tunnels will reveal themselves. Easy peasy. Kale asks Nusha to quietly summon the guards and send them after them without raising alarm. Nusha warns them to be cautious. She does not know what lies within those tunnels or what dangers might be waiting. Without hesitation, Kale and Irene clasp hands, drawing strength from one another, and launch themselves down the hall towards the library, racing against whatever darkness has already begun to move.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Shit! Like, it's like, yay, there's allies for us in this war. Let's just go get these books and get the fuck out of here. And now the healer on high is missing.
Literally.
We're heading into the library with secret tunnels that we don't know.
And she left a key purposely.
Yeah.
For them to find her.
Yes. To say, yes, there is something amiss. You must come locate me. But I love how it set, like Irene says, it's almost as she vanished into nothing, into shadow itself. And it's like, of course, it's like foreshadowing the Valgar here.
Yep, of course.
But yeah,
the
foreshadowing is real in these books. So she's not anywhere. So we're going into the library, into these tunnels, because that's the only other place they can think of where she might have been taken.
Very smart.
Over to you, Amanda.
Thanks, darling. Tower of Dawn, chapter 61. Irene and Kale descend the 1,000 steps to the lowest level of the library, where the familiar shelves give way to crumbling scrolls and ancient carved tablets. The air grows darker, and the lights sparser as they move into a tunnel deeper than even the tour's boom. Irene insists they face whatever lies ahead together, so Kale keeps his sword in one hand and her hand in the other as they walk in tense silence. Eventually, a faint glow appears, at first like a candle, though Kale immediately senses the trap and knows Hafiza must be the bait. As they approach, the light brightens into a golden radiance, spilling from a chamber beyond. Inside, every surface and object, armor, weapons, statues, and even trinkets, is made of pure gold. Irene flinches when she sees Hafiza bound and gagged on a golden throne, and beside her stands Duva, the Khagan's now youngest daughter, smiling with a twisted expression that is unmistakably Valg.
Oh my god.
Crazy. I did not see this coming.
No?
With the daughter. No.
I mean, I feel like this was a pretty well-kept surprise.
Yes. Well, they say, like, she was acting different, one of the sisters, and I'm like, did they like, in this section, she was like, "Oh, I thought she was acting different," or whatever, but then I'm like, did they ever say she was acting different? Like, I don't know, I feel like we didn't really see much of her.
No, she was always just kind of reserved and quiet, but I think
Yeah.
they just played it off as because she's married and pregnant and she's not really in the games with her siblings to become the next heir. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, she was the perfect victim for the
Crazy.
Valk to take over because who would suspect the pregnant princess daughter?
And I was like, "Oh my god, what are they gonna do? They're gonna try and chop her head off? Like, there's a fucking Valk in there."
Yeah,
And then the Coggin's really not gonna help and be pissed.
I know.
Like, that would be a really bad ending to this book.
Yeah,
But thankfully, that's not what happens.
no.
So we're in this fucking 1,000 steps down. It reminds me of Nesta and the 10,000
Oh
steps.
my god, there's always so many steps. You remember in like Throne of Glass or Crown of Midnight when she's going into like that secret tunnel with all the cages and it's
Yeah.
like and another step and more steps
And
and then we
another
round the
step.
corner and there's more steps and then we had to run back
And
up
through that
them
door, more
steps.
steps. Yeah, literally. No, this definitely felt like that. But it's funny that they end up in this
Yeah.
golden chamber with all
Nobody's
this gold here.
gone into these tunnels since the Fae left them.
Wild. Duva was standing there with her twisted little Valk smile on her face.
Damn.
Tell us her plans, Megan.
Oh gosh, here we go. Tower of Dawn, chapter 62. The Valg inhabiting Princess Duva reveals itself at last, mocking Kale and Irene for how long it took them to uncover the truth. The discovery is especially horrifying because Duva is pregnant and the Valg has been using her body and her unborn child as its shields. The creature speaks openly now, unbothered by exposure. Duva addresses Kale with cold amusement, telling him that he must choose between the healer on high and Irene or really Induva herself. When
Yeah.
she whispers Irene's name, the voice is unmistakable, the same voice that pursued Irene through the palace corridors that night. Any remaining doubt vanishes. Duva admits she is surprised they did not suspect her sooner, confessing that she destroyed the books and scrolls herself. She had been the only royal not in attendance at the party, but her pregnancy made her seem harmless and beyond suspicion. That vulnerability was exactly why she had been chosen. She explains that when Parrington's trove arrived for the wedding, Hussar nearly took the ring first, but Duva seized it instead. The ring appeared harmless, a simple silver band with the word stone cleverly hidden beneath. The moment Duva spoke her vows, the ring was slid onto her finger, unnoticed by nearly everyone. Almost everyone. Her youngest sister sensed something was wrong, and when she confronted Duva, Duva shoved her from the balcony without hesitation. Irene
Wild.
demands to know what Duva wants, and Duva answers plainly she wants Irene. Erewhon had heard rumors of a healer blessed with Silba's gifts entering the tour, and that knowledge made him deeply wary. That wariness explains Maeve's long-standing strategy, why she hoarded her healers and kept them hidden. Maeve had known the Valk would return and intended her healers to be a secret defense, an army meant to protect her when Erewhon rose again. Long ago, the Fey healers who escaped Maeve fled to this land and wove their magic into the soil itself, ensuring it would remain strong and protected. They buried their histories and treasures beneath the earth and allowed themselves to be forgotten, and left a garden above a sanctuary where healing magic could quietly endure. Their sacrifice was meant to give those Maeve deemed unimportant a fighting chance should Erewhon ever return. Even Erewhon had forgotten what a true heir of Silba could do. He remembered the healers well enough to try to destroy them, but one slipped through his grasp. That healer was Irene. Duva tells Irene she is far more valuable to Erewhon alive than dead, which is why Irene has survived this long. Irene is Silba's heir, and Hafiza knew it. That is why Erewhon sent the Valg to spy, to watch for the emergence of the healer with Silba's gifts and to prevent Irene from learning too much. The Valg admits it killed another healer by accident and refrained from killing more, knowing that too many deaths would raise suspicion. Duva declares that Irene is coming with her to Marath and extends a ring, ordering Irene Irene to place it on her finger. Before Irene can respond, Hafiza throws herself at Duva, and the two tumble down the steps together. Irene and Kale cry out in terror, not only for Hafiza's life, but for the unborn child Duva carries. Kale orders Irene to run and take Hafiza with her. Irene obeys, dragging Hafiza to safety, but the battle between Kale and Duva erupts behind them. Believing Duva may be gravely injured, Irene turns back, only to realize it was a trap. In a violent blur, Irene is flung aside as the Valg unleashes its power. Kale throws himself between Irene and the attack, taking the full force of the Valg's blow.
No.
I know.
Not my man's.
I can't.
He just got healed.
I mean, it is actually quite crazy what happens to Kale because he is fully healed by Irene just to end up back in a worse situation that he was in
3 minutes
than when
tops.
he started this book.
Literally.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes.
It's actually really fucking crazy.
After 600 pages of him healing.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Fuck. This man can't catch a break.
He cannot catch a break. Poor freaking Kale.
But actually, how crazy that they set this trap because of Irene. So all of this happened because everyone's like, oh shit. Remember, healers can actually affect the Valk in my army. And so that's why all those healers were being killed in the northern continent. But Irene escaped. He hears about Irene at the tour, and he wants to know if there's someone with Silba's gifts there. And sure enough, there is. So
sure enough,
the Valg tries to originally, I guess, not maybe kill Irene in the library, but was going to capture her, and the other healer got in the way, and that's why she died. But Irene's like, why didn't you just keep killing more healers until you got to me? And Duva's like, well, because that would raise too many questions. Like, important people might start asking, why are the Valg going after so many healers? It's a wonder that they didn't really question it before, but I think it's because the king was going after all magic users, not specifically just healers in general. It was just anyone with an ounce of magic in them was being killed. So I think that's why no one questioned it before. But if someone was at the tour starting to kill healers, people are going to start questioning that.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But Duva's like, you're wanted better alive than dead. We don't really know what for or why Erewhon would need a healer on his side to control. But he wants to put a ring on her finger, and they're like, that's never going to happen.
That's never going to happen.
Literally, Hafiza's like, I will kill myself killing you before the ring gets put on Irene's finger, which is crazy.
Wild. They love Irene.
But Irene is tricked by Duva, runs back to help the baby, but Duva's eyes are like, gotcha, bitch. And
literally
tries to get her, but Kale steps in the way and takes the killing blow.
Oh.
Which is crazy that she would even throw that much power at Irene because she's supposed to bring her back to Erewhon alive. So why did she throw that much power at her if it would have killed her?
Well, unless she could handle it because she's a healer, maybe she could like use her power against the blast.
Maybe.
And Kale's like just human, you know?
Yeah, that's true. But now Kale is in a bad predicament, so I'll let you talk about that.
So sad. All right. Tower of Dawn, chapter 63. Agony ripped down Kale's spine, spreading into his arms and legs with a force even worse than what he endured in the glass castle. Something in his spine cracked, again and again, until all feeling vanished from his legs. Irene screamed for Duva to stop, but Kale only wanted her to run. Duva, clutching the black ring, taunted Irene, insisting she knew exactly how to end this. Irene seized Kale's sword and hurled it at Duva before sprinting away. She had no plan, no options, only the crushing fear that all her painstaking work on Kale's spine had been destroyed. Duva caught her, and Kale dragged himself towards them, desperate to help. Duva threatened to make one of them watch the other meet their fate, but Irene snapped, warning her not to touch him. With a burst of strength, Irene tore free and leveled a golden blade at Duva. Kale begged her not to do it. She was ready until she remembered her vow never to take a life, and she thought about the second life growing inside Duva. She dropped the knife. Hafiza arrived with 2 healers, along with Nezrin and Sartog. One breath from Hafiza sent Duva into a deep sleep, but Nezrin whispered that they were too late. Irene turned to Kale and saw the light fading from his eyes. She begged him to wake up, to fight. Then light began to gather, not from the sun, but from the spirit of the healers themselves. A voice, ancient and not human, spoke through Haviza. The damage was too great, and a cost must be paid to repair it. Irene stepped forward. A daughter of Fenharrow would pay the cost for a son of a Darlin, freely, with her whole heart. The ancient presence approved, knowing she chose well. All the healers of the Tor linked hands, forming a living chain of power. Kale's feet twitched, then his knees. Life surged back into him, fully, wholly. Even the scar across his face vanished. He was alive, restored, and reborn through Irene's sacrifice and the united strength of every healer who had ever walked the Tor halls.
Well,
that was the most devastating chapter I think I've read so far in this series.
Oh, shit.
I really thought he was going to die. You have been prepping me like people are dying. People are going to die. Like fucking Kourtney Kardashian yelling at Kim. People are dying. That's what I hear from you about this book.
People are dying, Amanda.
And that's all I could think of. I'm like, oh my God. If it starts off with Kale not even making it to the last book, I would have been devastated. I would have been devastated for Irene, for Aelin, for Dorian. I would have been devastated in general.
Yeah. I don't think I specifically said anyone was dying yet. But.
Well, you never know with you. You're tricky.
I know. I try not to give it away.
Yeah. It could be at any time. And that was like, I don't know. I feel like that would have been like, oh my God. I would have been, I don't even know.
I honestly think it would have been so perfect for sacrifice. Nothing against Kale, but like just to get that redemption arc, just to like die and sacrifice for the greater good.
No.
And then he becomes like a god, like guiding their way to finish this war with like on Irene's shoulder as she walks into battle.
Maybe, but I don't know. I feel like Kale.
But like, what is he gonna do now that he can't even like? If Irene's helping people, like, and he's not at full strength, what is he just supposed to do? Twiddle his fingers?
No, well, he says in my chapter later, like, he's like, I'm gonna fight no matter what, like whether I'm on a fucking horse or if I'm in a wheelchair or if I'm running around or using a cane.
I know. I'm just
He's a fighter, Megan. He's loyal as fuck.
Now.
I feel like he always was. He was just troubled. He didn't know who his loyalty really should have belonged to.
Yeah. He's growing. He has growth.
He is growing.
He had a whole book for him to have growth.
Yeah. I think he needed has been redeemed.
Some time away from his boyfriend and Aelin for him to find his own
life
course.
Literally. Yeah.
Yep. Well, now he's like, I have purpose. I'm bringing the healers.
Yeah, true. And his newfound love.
He should have always felt like he had purpose, but
I know.
He didn't see it before.
I know.
You saw it for him, Amanda.
I did see it for
I'm
him.
actually not as big of a Kale hater as I'm making it sound right now. I actually have always been on his side. I was very excited when I was reading the series the first time that Tower of Dawn was a whole Kale book, even though that is not the opinion of most.
I know. I don't know why. I feel like he's not that bad.
I love a redemption arc. I don't really even see him as like the same level as like a Tamlin, which is like what people sometimes compare it to, but I don't see it at all. I think Kale was young and naive and believed in his country, and he gets that thrown in his face like tenfold and doesn't know how to respond to it from the betrayal from his country and coming from someone he believes is like not good for his country and doesn't know how to handle that. And I think him coming here and his injury forced him to grow up and to find his own way. And I think that it was great for him. So I'm not as much of a Kale hater. I'm just giving Amanda a hard time. She loves him more than I do, but I do like Kale.
I do love Kale. I loved this whole book about him. I mean, it was like very easygoing, like laid back book compared to Empire Storm, so at times it felt long, but I always enjoyed Irene and Kale's storyline in that book.
I even like
Nesrin and Sartok stuff. I did like more towards the end, but the heavy world building in the beginning just felt kind of long, only because I was reading Empire of Storms and it was crazy, and I just had to like switch back to like this world building scene, and I'm like, oh, like I usually appreciate the world building so much, but I'm just like, I just want to be done with the world building and get to the good stuff.
I think a lot of the world building was repetitive, though. I think we kept
Yeah.
getting the same information over and over again, like from different characters, and I don't think it was necessary, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, we needed this for the story, so.
For sure. Yeah. So Irene is begging Duva to stop hurting Kale. Obviously, she cannot stand to see her men in agony.
Mm.
But Duva's like, you know how to make it happen, girlfriend. Put this ring on your finger.
Hell
And
no.
she's like, no. Grabs a sword, chucks it at her, sprints away. Kale's fucking crawling to them. Wild that Kale is even crawling at this point because he's like basically dead.
Yeah.
But he's like, my girl, I gotta help my girl. Crawling, army crawl in the ground.
Yeah.
And Irene basically finds this blade after she gets out of Duva's grasp because Duva gets her, and Irene does her little kung fu moves that Aelin taught her, gets out, finds a blade, and she's about to fucking chop Duva's head off.
Yeah.
And Kale's like, do not do that.
Yeah.
Thank God she didn't, because she wouldn't have even known if she could heal the Valg if she did.
I know.
She would have just killed it and killed Duva and the baby, maybe.
Yeah.
So she doesn't do it. You know, she finally realizes, like, she vowed to take her oath that she would never kill anybody. So she drops the knife, and thank God Haviza and Sartak and Nezrin come in at this time. Haviza basically puts that bitch to sleep.
She's like,
yeah.
Go to sleep, bitch.
Yeah, and Nezrin's like, fuck, we were too late. But honestly, I feel like they came, well, I mean, they could have prevented Kale from fucking losing his legs again, but whatever. I guess you were a little too late, Nezrin.
Yeah, they were kind of late, but I mean, they got there super fast, as fast as they could.
Yeah, for sure. They were busy too. Then we get this fucking insane scene where I was almost in tears, like almost I don't cry. I'm not a crier about books.
Yeah.
I'm a crier about like pets on TV and like happy moments. Like I don't cry about books. And I was almost in fucking tears. But then when this whole sacrifice thing happened with Irene and all the healers came down the fucking stairs in the tunnels and they're all hands on top of each other to save Kale, I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking wild.
I think it's just like a powerful moment. I think that's what always gets me. Like, it got me at the end of this book too, like what I'll talk about. Like, I think it's just these powerful scenes that have such an impact to characters or the story that just makes you emotional. Like, you're so invested. And I think especially doing how we've done these deep dives for almost a year now in this series, like these characters are like people that are like our friends at this point. We talk about them.
Literally talking about them every single week for a whole year.
Yeah, like I think about Throne of Glass like every day of my life. Like I'm constantly thinking about what are we doing next? What are we talking about? Where is the series going? What do we have to prep for it? And I think that's why it makes it, I think, more emotional for me this time around. And I've cried more than I did, I think, the first time around because like they feel just like, I don't know, like people I know because we talk about them so much and read about them so much.
It's crazy. I don't know how I'm going to move on to another series after this. I'm going to be like, so what happens with Aelin in this book?
Yeah, I had a huge crash after I finished Throne of Glass the first time.
Oh, no.
And so I'm really scared. I don't know. Like, I'm going to be relieved to finish because it has been over a year of our lives. But also, I don't know. I'm going to miss them so much.
I know. It's crazy. But at least Kale is happy and alive.
Yes.
There is a sacrifice that had to be made by Irene. The damage basically done to him, this god was saying, was too much and the cost was too high. And Irene was like, I will fucking pay it. I don't give a fuck. Save my man.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, deal.
Yeah. All right. Sounds great.
And we learn about what that sacrifice is in the next chapter.
Yes, we do. Tower of Dawn, chapter 64. Kale wakes to pain, but it is a pain he welcomes. His body aches with sore. overworked muscles rather than shattered bones, and for the first time in a long while, breathing does not burn his lungs. The realization settles slowly. He is alive, and his body is no longer broken beyond recognition. Nezrin explains that she and Sartok flew as fast as they could once they learned about what had happened. The tour guards had already been alerted, but the Ruck Riders outran them, guided by the library basset cats who led them straight to Kale and Irene. Haviza reports that Princess Duva is unconscious and will remain asleep until deliberately awakened. Even with the Valk ring still on her finger, the demon within her cannot rouse itself. Sartok thanks Irene openly for sparing Duva's life. Arisha, however, demands to know whether Kale was worth the terrible price she just paid. Irene answers honestly and painfully by revealing the truth to Kale. Despite the presence of every healer in the tour, the damage to him had been too severe. Death had already taken Kale by the hand. To pull him back, Irene paid a cost without ever being told what it would be. In order to keep Kale tethered to the world, his life had to be bound to another, hers. Their lives are now intertwined, inseparable, but even that sacrifice was not enough to save him entirely. There remains permanent damage to his spine and the lower portion of his legs. Irene's healing power will act as a living brace, allowing him to walk, but when her magic wanes, when she is exhausted or drained, the injury will assert itself again. On those days, Kale will need a cane, and on the hardest days, a wheelchair. Worse still, Irene can never heal him again. That too was a part of the price. Irene is devastated, but Kale tells her gently that she healed him in every way that truly matters. He is alive, he can stand, he can walk, and when death eventually comes for him, it will come for them both together. Their lives are now bound not just by love, but by fate itself. Turning to Sartok, Irene makes the stakes clear. What happened to Duva is exactly what Erewhon intends to do to all of them if they refuse to stand against him. This is not a distant threat, it is a warning. When Kale finally rises, he sees clearly what he has already sensed. Nezrin is happy with Sartok. The truth settles warmly in his chest rather than painfully. He embraces her, thanking her for everything, and Nezrin thanks Kale in return for bringing her to Antika and for setting her on the path that led her here. They acknowledge that there is much left unsaid between them in conversations they need to have about what they both have learned in their absences. Sartok takes Duva before the Kogan and their siblings, revealing the truth at last. He tells them the ring Duva wears is a Valg ring sent by Erewhon, placed on her finger on her wedding day. The Kogan asks immediately about Duva's unborn child, but Argan accuses them of all lying, desperate manipulation meant to drag the Empire into a foreign war. The healer on high silences him without hesitation. No one dares contradict her. Cashin supports Sartok, saying that if Argan had paid any real attention to Duva, he would have noticed how she changed. They all know the truth now. Duva was the one who had murdered their sister. The family asks whether Irene can heal Duva, and Irene agrees to try. Kale steps forward and tells the Kogan there are things he must understand about Erewhon. Argan objects, insisting it is not the time, but Kale counters that Erewhon's darkness has already reached their shores. Nezrin confirms it. The spiders are stirring, readying themselves to serve their master. The war has already begun to bleed into these lands, whether they acknowledge it or not. The Kogan orders that Duva be healed first. Irene steps forward, approaching the sleeping princess, the demon still lurking inside her, and begins.
Wild.
So crazy. So, going back to still being in the tunnels of the library, Kale is awake, he's moving, and basically Aviza tells them what the price is that Irene paid willingly without knowing what it was. So Kale's life and Irene's life are now bound together. When one dies, the other will die too. And
Yeah.
Irene's power is basically, and her magic is a brace for Kale to be walking and moving as he is. And when Irene is tired, then he is going to have to use the cane. And on really bad days, he might be bound to his wheelchair again. But he
Yeah.
thinks it's worth it. He's alive. Irene, though, is devastated. She's like, I literally just spent months of my fucking life figuring out how to heal this man. And now I'm his brace. Like, I'd almost be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Literally. Like, what a smack in the face.
Literally. But I mean, obviously it's either that or your man's be dead. So
Yeah. I would rather that too for me
and
than
now
my man's be dead.
with their true love, like when one goes, the other one will go. But it's almost like makes you more cautious of,
Yeah.
how you go through this life now once another life is tied to your own.
Yeah.
Kale and Nezrin kind of acknowledge that they're both in different relationships at this point and they're happy for each other and that they'll do a catch up of what they've learned while they're gone.
Yeah.
Sartok brings his sister back in front of his family and explains everything with Erewhon and the Valg ring on her finger. Of course, the oldest brother is like, bah, 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 always can't fucking shut his mouth. But the healer on high shuts him down real quick. And I just love that he just shuts his mouth immediately. Like that was such a perfect scene for me.
Hell
And
yeah.
now they're trying to tell the Coggin, like, you need to join this war. The war is already on your doorstep. Like, you can't ignore this any longer. But he's like, heal my daughter first, and then we can have a little chit chat.
Yeah. He's like, concentrate on her, and then we'll talk.
So
We'll see.
Irene's
Once
gonna,
I can ask her what the truth is.
yeah. So Irene is like, all right, here we go. Let's try this.
Crazy.
See if her theory works.
Yep. Here we go. Tower of Dawn, chapter 65. Irene faced Dula without fear, even knowing the darkness inside her was far worse than anything she ever battled in Kale. She seized the black ring and pulled, forcing a scream from the unconscious princess as Cashin and Sartok held her down. The Coggin panicked, thinking Irene was harming his daughter, but Hazar snapped at him to stay silent and let Irene work. Irene pressed her glowing hand to Duva's chest. Light flared, then was sucked into Duva, dragging Irene with it. Inside the darkness, the Valg presence taunted her, promising death for all of them. Irene unleashed her power again and again, refusing to yield, telling the demon it had nowhere left to run. The creature shrieked as she drove it back, revealing its true form, a gray, hairless, long-limbed horror with oversized black eyes. Irene called it pathetic for preying on a helpless woman. The demon hissed that it was not a prince, but a princess, and that its sisters would come soon. It promised that Irene's world would fall as countless others had. Irene answered with the final eruption of light, burning away the last of its darkness before snapping back into her own body. She shouted for Duva's brothers to turn her as the princess vomited again and again, expelling the remnants of the demon. Irene felt the Valg vanish completely. The Coggin's rage turned lethal. Someone had sent this creature into his home. Irene checked the baby next and found it healthy, human, and untouched. When Duva awoke, she confirmed everything. Kale waited for Irene in his chair, knowing she had spent enormous power to save Duva. He wasn't angry, only full of quiet adoration. The Coggin declared that Irene could ask for anything, and it would be hers. She did, in fact, have a favor to request. The palace was in chaos, but Nezrin, Sartok, Kale, and Irene slipped away to their suite to regroup. Kale reflected on the moment he felt his legs fail again while Irene healed Duva. He wasn't ashamed or frustrated. He didn't see it as a punishment. He would fight however he could, on legs, in a chair, with a cane, or on horseback. If they survived, he would not shrink from who he was. Sartok received the news from Kaja. Duva had gone down the tunnels, and Argan would make her life miserable for not telling him first, or at all. Kale and Irene thanked Kaja for her loyalty. Then Nezrin dropped the revelation about Maeve being a Valg queen, the spiders, and everything they had learned. They suspected Maeve's ever-present owl was actually a fae form of a healer she kept enslaved as a bodyguard. Irene added that the demon inside Duva had called itself a Valg princess, and Nezrin confirmed the spiders had spoken of both Valg's sons and daughters. Nezrin and Sartok had brought 1,000 Ruck Riders to join the coming war and planned to meet Aelin's forces, now including Manon Blackbeak and the 13. Sartok noted that they needed a way to keep their hosts alive long enough for healers to reach them, but Irene had ideas involving Aelin's power. Then, Hazar barged in, announcing she would join the war as well, bringing whatever ship she could. She refused to let her sister ever live in fear again, and for what Irene had done for Duva, Hazar vowed to help her save her homeland.
Oh.
Oh boy. So we find out, first of all, in this chapter that Irene can fucking heal someone from the Valg parasite inside them.
Yep.
She saves the baby. She saves Duva. Duva tells the Coggin, her father, that everything is true that they've been saying, basically. She finally gets this Valg thing in this vulnerable state where she can see it's like this gray, long-limbed, spooky thing with these big black eyes. And she's just like, you know what? Boom, with light. Now you're gone.
See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
Yeah, Duva just basically pukes up all the remnants of the Valg, and she's free of him after that. It's a princess.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do have some thoughts about that, but I'll save that for final thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Coggan's like, bitch, you can have anything you want.
She's like, okay, bet.
She's like, actually, I do have one request.
Yeah.
But we don't find out what that is. Not quite yet. Not just yet. And then we go into Kale's POV. It's mentioned that he kind of like has his hand on her back while she's approaching Duva to battle with this demon inside of her. And then during this whole battle, she even notices his hand disappear. And when I read that, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, he has to go sit down, like, because she's using so much power. And it was true.
Yeah.
He had to literally go sit down, and he, like, quietly asked for his chair because, And actually, opposite of Kale's pity party mood, he's actually not mad about it. He's like, you know what? This is my life. I'm fucking alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to fight no matter what. I'm not going to see this as punishment. If they survive this war, he's not going to let this shrink who he is,
Yeah.
He's going to do what he has to do regardless. We find out that Kaja is actually the one that told Sartok and Nezrin about what was going on.
Nice.
Even though I was thinking it was Nezrin's note that she got from Kale, but apparently that wasn't it.
Yeah, no, she just knew, like, he said to come back, and she got back, and they found
And
Kaja.
then that crazy shit was going on. Yeah. So that was news to me. It's funny that they didn't even tell Argan, though, but, whatever.
Fuck him.
Yeah, who cares about him? And this is where they bring up the stuff about the owl again, which we already talked about. After all of this chaos is ensuing, they basically hide in a room and figure out what the fuck they're going to do. We find out that Nezrin and Sartok brought 1,000 Ruck Riders, and they're ready to go to Terrasin to fight alongside Aelin, who they now know is also with Manon Blackbeak and the 13.
Mm-hmm.
So all they're really worried about now is a way to keep the hosts alive long enough for healers to get there and help them. But Irene has a plan involving Aelin's powers, which I feel like is going to blow up in our face, knowing it's not actually Aelin, it's Lysandra. So that's not going to be fun.
Hopefully we get to Aelin before Irene needs her.
Hopefully. Indeed. And then to end this chapter, Hazar barges in, and she's like, I'm coming not only for my sister, who I never want to live in fear again and always be looking over her shoulder, but also for you, Irene, and for what you've done for her. I want to help save your homeland. So
it's like Hazar's only friend.
Yeah, literally, they're besties. So she's like, if you're leaving, I'm going.
Yeah, you're not gonna leave me here without and be with my Argan? Fuck that.
Literally, yeah. She's like, no, thank you. I'll be going with you and Sartok and Nezrin.
I feel like at the end of this book, like, Argan and Duva might be the only siblings that aren't on their way to
literally, yeah.
to Terrasin.
Yeah, Sartok, Hazar,
Cashin.
That's it. Oh, and Cashin. No, Cashin's not going. Is he going?
Yeah.
Oh, he is going. Oh, wow. Little Cashin boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just ready to go. We are, like, gathering the crew to head back to Terrasin.
Crazy.
Wild.
But before we get there, a few more chapters to go.
Yes.
Tower of Dawn, chapter 66. Nezrin is utterly exhausted, physically, emotionally, and in spirit, and feels as though she could sleep for a month. Seeking solitude, she goes alone to Kadara's minaret. Sartok has gone to speak with his father alongside Hazar, and while things are no longer awkward between her, Kale, and Irene, Nezrin senses they deserve privacy. She also realizes she needs to find quarters of her own. While she's there, a boy finds her with a letter from her uncle dated 2 weeks earlier. The moment she reads it, urgency seizes her. Nezrin races to the Eyrie and mounts the ruck she claimed the day they departed the Eridan Eyrie. Selkie has accepted her fully as his rider, and together they fly hard and fast, landing outside her uncle's home. The doors burst open. Her father stands there, followed by her sister and her sister's children, all running towards her. The sight breaks something open in Nezrin. She collapses to her knees and weeps, overwhelmed with relief, love, and the miracle of seeing them alive and safe. Sartok finds her 2 hours later, by which time Nezrin and her family are deep into sharing stories of everything they have endured. It is decided that her family will remain here until the war is over. The children are far more fascinated by Kadara than the prince himself, delighting in the Ruks, who lower their massive heads gently so the children can pet them. Sartok watches it all with quiet joy and insists on properly welcoming Nezrin's family now that they have arrived safely. Later, Sartok asks Nezrin to walk with him. As they stroll, he tells her about the conversation with his father. He has made his intentions clear. He would lead the Rukin against Erewhon with or without the Khagan's consent. When his father demanded to know why, Sartok answered simply that not only does the fate of the world depend on it, but the woman he loves is heading into war and he will follow her wherever she goes. When the Khagan objected that Nezrin is common-born and Sartok a potential heir, Sartok replied he did not want the throne and turned to leave. Before he could exit the room, his father named him heir.
Wild.
Stunned, Nezrin instinctively begins to bow, but Sartok stops her, telling her never to bow to him. He admits that the coming war is full of uncertainty, but one thing is unwavering, what he feels for her. No demon army, no dark king or queen will ever change that. He promises that when they return from war, they will come back to this place together and spend the rest of their lives here. Nezrin kisses him, heartful and steady for the first time in a long while. From a nearby courtyard, she hears her sister voice carry on the wind. I told you, father.
I loved this chapter for them.
I know. Such relief for Nezrin that her family is here safe in Antigua with her aunt and uncle, and that they're going to stay here through the war. So they're in a much better place, that she doesn't need to worry about them when she heads off into the battle with the rest of this group. But Sartok shows up, meets the dad, gets to see the sister and the nieces, who are just nieces and nephew, are just more impressed by the Ruks than anything else. They don't care about the prince.
I would be too if I was that age.
I know. They're like, who cares about you, Sartok? But such a cute moment between Nezrin and Sartok when basically and I think this is why the dad gives him to be the heir apparent, is because he's like, I will give up everything for the woman I love. You can't tell me what to do, and I will give up my title in order to be with her. And I think because he was so willing to give up his title and walk away from it all is why the dad made him the heir.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Did you suspect that it would be? So I think you said in an episode you didn't think it would be, that he would.
I still don't. I don't think he's going to survive now because of it. I truly don't. I'm like, there's no way he's going to be fucking heir.
But I think it just makes the most logical sense, because I think Cashin is too young. I think Duva is too young. And I think Hazar and Argan just are too power hungry at the end of the day, that they'll never put the good of the people in front of themselves. And I think by Sartok willing to walk away from it all for love and for his people, to save this world, to make it a better world, is why the dad is like, you're my heir.
100%, yeah.
So I don't know, maybe Nezrin's gonna be, what is the Khagan's wife called? Like, does she have a title?
They called her something, the Empress of something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They called her something, yeah.
She might be an empress. She goes from like a lowly guard to now the captain of the guard, and now she's gonna be like the Khagan's like empress. Like,
wife.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if it was empress exactly, but they definitely call her something because she runs into like Duva at the end, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
What it was called, but I really do think it's foreshadowing for something bad, though. I'm like, this is way too good of a chapter for Nezrin.
We'll see. We'll find out next book.
Way too good. I hope he is the heir, but I don't know.
We shall find out in another 800 pages.
Wow, 800 pages. That's crazy. All right.
Is it more than 8? I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure it's 1,000 pages.
Should we look real quick? 980.
980?
Yeah.
Tower of Dawn, chapter 67. 2 weeks later, the ship carrying them home finally prepared to depart. Irene stood at the rail, watching Antigua for what she knew might be the last time. She hadn't made many farewells, but Cashin still managed to find her before she left. He admitted he wished he'd never spoken to her that night on the steps, not because he regretted knowing her, but because losing her had hurt more than he expected. He told her he missed having her as a friend, and she confessed she missed him too. He thanked her again for saving Duva's life and said he was certain their paths would cross again someday. Irene thanked him for his kindness, for everything he had been to her in Antigua. As the ship began to pull away from the harbor, she looked back one last time at the Tor Sesame rising above the city, its silhouette like an arm lifted in farewell. Then Antigua slipped into the distance, and Irene turned toward the future, waiting across the sea.
Oh, shoot.
Wild! So 2 weeks have passed.
Yep.
Which we find out a lot has happened in those 2 weeks, but not until your chapter.
Yes.
Basically, here we're just boarding the ship, getting ready, and saying our last farewells to Antigua and to the Tor Sesame for a while. And I love that she's like, the Tor was like a big giant arm just waving in the distance, farewell to me. I'm like, I love that.
Yeah. Goodbye, Irene.
Bye, Irene. Like, fucking reminds me of Elf.
Yeah. Hope you find your dad.
Yeah. Bye, buddy. I hope you find your dad.
It's like, bye, Irene. I hope you find Aelin.
Yeah.
Please.
Literally. Yeah, so I mean, we got this cute little moment between Cashin and her where basically they're just apologizing and saying they miss each other as friends. But beyond that, and leaving Antigua, that's all that really happens in this chapter.
Yes. All right. My last chapter, and I guess it's not the official last chapter, but
yeah, it's technically the last numbered chapter.
Yes. Tower of Dawn, chapter 68. Cale takes none of his steps for granted, not even the miserable ones that have him stumbling across the deck to vomit into a bucket during the first days at sea. The soreness in his legs, the ache in his muscles, the simple act of standing upright on the rocking ship, each sensation is a gift. Even when his stomach revolts against the relentless waves, he reminds himself that he is standing, he is walking. Thank the gods for Irene, who stays by his side, soothing both his nausea and his pride. After 2 grueling weeks at sea, battling violent storms the captain grimly calls shipwreckers, Cale's body finally adjusts. They are now somewhere near northern Eelway, close to the Fenhour border. There is still no sign of Aelin or her armada, though given their delays after Duva's healing and the time it took to prepare the fleet, this is to be expected. It had taken Cale a full day after Duva was freed from the Valg for him to walk again without his cane. Now, as the ship cuts through the dark waters, he looks down at his hand intertwined with Irene's. Twin golden bands gleam on their fingers. Irene is now Lady Westfall.
Wild.
They were married 2 weeks ago in the Temple of Silba in a ceremony both sacred and intimate. Hazar, true to form, threw them a grand celebration afterward, and now she leads part of the Armada herself. Cale can only imagine the inevitable clash of personalities when Hazar meets Adian for the first time. The thought almost makes him pity Adian. I don't. Fucking get her. Get him. Arisha has joined them as well, sailing as one of the Tor's healers, and Hazar has gifted Irene her own Manuki horse as a wedding present, a symbol not just of wealth but of belonging. As they stand together on deck, Irene mentions that she supposes she no longer needs the note she once carried everywhere, a reminder to herself that she was not alone and that she could be brave. She has found her courage now, she has found her place. She studies the worn scrap of paper and wonders aloud whether the girl who once gave her everything will return for the coming war. She offers it to Cale. He reads the words, "Forever you need to go, and then some. The world needs more healers." Cale knows this handwriting instantly as well as he knows his own. Irene goes still as tears begin sliding down Cale's face. He calculates the timing. She would have been 16 or 17 then, traveling to the Red Desert to train with the silent assassins. The bruises Irene once described, those had been from Arabin's brutal punishment after Aelin had freed the slaves in Skull's Bay. It had been Aelin, a queen who in the depths of her own suffering saw another young woman trapped in hell and reached back to offer a hand, never expecting repayment, never knowing what that small kindness would one day become. A simple gift, a tug on a thread in the vast tapestry of fate. Even Aelin could not have foreseen what saving that one barmaid would mean. That barmaid is now a healer blessed by Silba herself, a healer capable of driving the Valg from their hosts. And she does not stand alone. 300 healers from the Tor now sail across the sea. So I'm like already crying.
I know. This is so amazing. I love this ending.
Just like knowing what Aelin's going through too right now.
I know.
Oh, sorry. I'm like crying.
Poor Megan.
300 healers from the horde now sail across the sea, spread among 1,000 ships from the Koghan's empire. When Irene saved his daughter, she asked for one thing in return, that he save her people. The Koghan answered. Hussar's armada sails alongside his own fleet. Cashin's foot soldiers fill the ships. Argan's cavalry stands ready. Above them, 1,000 Ruk patrol the skies, an army powerful enough to challenge Marath itself. Half have already sailed, more are preparing to follow, given how little the time they had to prepare. Everything has converged to this moment. Every choice, every mistake, every act of mercy. Kale tells Irene to hold on to that note a little longer. There is someone who will want to see it, someone who deserves to know what that moment of compassion set into motion. For the first time in his life, Kale does not regret the path that brought him here. He does not look back. When Irene demands an explanation for his dramatic reaction, he tells her to sit down and he will explain over lunch. She warns him that it better be worth it, and he promises her that it is. Like, so crazy. I'm just like crying.
That was a great ending.
Like, and this is just why Assassin's Blade is just such an important book.
Yeah.
Like, just the ending of Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn alone shows you how important Assassin's Blade is with Ansel's return.
How did people never read Assassin's Blade? I see that comment all the time. They're like, oh, I never read it. I'm like,
some people skip Tower of Dawn too, which is
what?
So insane. Yeah.
How could you skip Tower of Dawn?
You can't. You can't skip any books. You can't skip Assassin's Blade. You can't skip Tower of Dawn. Like, this whole story is so powerful when you read every single word that she wrote.
Yeah.
And, like, if this doesn't make you tear up, like, I don't even want to talk to you.
Well, I'm not tearing up.
And not tearing up, but it made you emotional.
Yes,
it hit you how it was supposed to.
Yes, like, I honestly was expecting a worse ending. Like, I was expecting something fucking crazy to happen and us not be okay. Kind of like how Empire Storms ended. Like, two shit shows coming together, basically. But really, it didn't. It ended so lovely. Like, they're married.
I think
He's Lady Westfall.
I think this is, like, what you needed, I think, in the tandem read is, like, one book ends and, like, I mean, we even get a reminder, obviously, in the next little bit, like, of how Empire of Storms ends. Because, obviously, Empire of Storms came out first, and then Tower of Dawn came out. So it was never released as a tandem read, which is crazy. I think that's why you get the little reminder at the end of, obviously, what's going on. But I just think it's just so crazy of what a 16-year-old girl, 17-year-old girl put into motion to save her people for a better world. And she didn't even realize what she was doing. But, like, freeing the slaves in Skulls Bay, making this, like, weird enemy, ally, frenemy of Rolf. Then you have Irene and how she helped her, and now she's coming back with 300 healers to fight in this war. Then you have Ansel and the Silent Assassins, like, in the next chapter, who are now there as her allies going to fight in this war. And it's just like, oh my God, just even Sam's, like, the sacrifice of Sam and, like, just setting everything into motion of her going to Endovir. It's just like, it's just chills. It's like crazy.
It's crazy how intertwined it is and, like, so masterfully done. Like, I can't even explain my feelings when, like, these old characters come up. I'm like, what? Like, how can this all be so tied together so well? And she wrote it over years. Like, how do you remember? And, like,
yeah,
I don't know.
And just even when they find out in Empire of Storms, like, Elena and the backstory of Aelin surviving the night, like, her parents were killed and, like, running to the river, and it just, like, when you find out this information just hits you just at the right moment. Like,
it's wild too. Like, her name was Selena to me for 3 fucking books. It's just crazy that the journey.
Yeah,
the journey is just fucking crazy.
And now we're almost at the end. It's wild to me to think of all the things that still need to be done, right? Like, none of the bad guys are defeated. Like, Erewhon still stands. Maeve has Aelin and still stands. None of our group is together. Everyone is separated again, trying to make it back to each other once they each accomplished their tasks. But, like, I guess that's why the next book is 908, what did I say, 80 pages. So. But
lots to wrap up.
There's lots to wrap up, lots to do, and you can't rush it. So
no.
And I think the way, you know, we always say everything happens in the last 100 pages of a Sarah J. Maas book. I will say the last 100 pages of this next book is crazy, but I think, like, the story really flows really well together to bring us to an ending. So I'm really excited.
Yay! All right, well, before we say goodbye to TOD forever, we still have our FIREHEART chapter that I'm going to give my summary for.
Yes.
Very short and sweet, but 'tis about Aelin. FIREHEART. I think you're right about it being a little reminder because the book came out later.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, Tower of Dawn, FIREHEART. Aelin existed in nothing but darkness and iron. They had forced her into sleep and left her inside a coffin forged by an ancient queen, one designed to trap the sun itself. Entombed, cut off from the world, she drifted through dreams that were more like endless voids, seas of shadows, fire, and silence. She was just a nameless princess followed by the darkness. She sang to the darkness, and for a time it sang back, until even that faded and a blinding light broke through. When she opened her eyes, the death mask still covered her face, cold and suffocating. A figure appeared above her, smiling with a spider's smile. The woman cooed that she was glad Aelin was awake. Then she ordered her huntsman to haul Aelin out of the coffin. As the iron scraped and the world tilted, the woman's smile widened as she said, "Let's begin."
Oh,
I don't like the sound of that for our gal Aelin.
no, it's bad.
Now I see why you had to go right away into Kingdom of Ash, and I don't get to pick it up for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, immediately shut the book, fucking threw it, and grabbed Kingdom of Ash.
Immediately. Yeah. So I have to wait until we at least finish
final thoughts.
Before, so I can make my predictions. But I really do want to just grab it and start it.
I guess you could, but I wouldn't.
No, I'm not going to, because then I can't talk about it for like 2 fucking weeks. So no, thank you. I'm going to wait and be patient. Finish Bride, be good. Maybe another Harry Potter book.
Yep.
And gather my thoughts for the emotional ending that's about to occur in the next 2 months.
Yes.
But that's all we have for you today. Please let us know what you think by leaving us a review and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on, or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in. And come join our book club Discord. You can find the link in our bios on Insta and TikTok. And next, we are reading The Wolf King by Lauren P. I'm not going to try her last name again and butcher it. Lauren P. You don't know her? Look it up. We love chatting with you guys, so don't be shy.
Don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. And we hope the rest of your day is blissful. Bye!
Thank you so much for listening. Join us next time for our final thoughts of the Tandem read by Sarah J. Maas, featuring Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. Happy reading!